For centuries, it remained hidden, not buried beneath a famous pyramid, not sealed inside a royal tomb, but concealed in a place almost no one thought to look, a forgotten cave, a dark chamber carved into stone, and inside it, according to a controversial account that still fuels debate today, was a map, not a map of rivers, not a map of mountains, a map of the sky. What made the discovery so disturbing wasn't its age, it wasn't the strange symbols. It wasn't even the possibility that it had been created more than 2,000 years ago. It was what the map appeared to predict, a celestial event, an event that would eventually unfold over North America. An event so unusual that some researchers believed it was impossible. Yet the markings seemed precise, intentional, almost as if whoever created the map wasn't recording the heavens. They were warning future generations. And if that's true, who were they warning? And how could people living in 150 BC know something that hadn't happened yet? Tonight we follow one of the most mysterious archaeological legends ever connected to ancient America, a story involving hidden chambers, forgotten civilizations, impossible astronomy, and a star map that may have been waiting centuries to reveal its secret. And the deeper we go, the stranger it becomes. Long before modern cities covered the American landscape, vast civilizations flourished across the continent. Many have disappeared so completely that only fragments remain, earthworks hidden beneath forests, stone structures swallowed by deserts, ancient ceremonial centers abandoned to time. Entire cultures remembered only through scattered artifacts and fading legends. For generations, historians believed these societies possessed limited astronomical knowledge. That assumption began to change in the 20th century. Researchers studying ancient American sites noticed something unusual. Again and again, monuments aligned with the sky, not randomly. Precisely, some faced the rising sun during solstices, others pointed toward specific stars. Certain structures appeared designed to track celestial cycles, spanning decades. Suddenly a question emerged: how much did these ancient peoples actually know? And more importantly, what were they trying to preserve? The mystery deepened when stories surfaced about an unusual cave discovered in a remote region of the American Southwest. Accounts differed, some details contradicted one another, yet certain elements remained remarkably consistent. Explorers reportedly entered a hidden chamber unlike anything they expected. The walls were covered in symbols, geometric patterns, constellations, circular diagrams, strange arrangements of dots and lines. At first glance, the markings appeared decorative. But closer examination suggested something else: a system, a language, a map, and not a map of Earth, a map of the heavens. What happened next remains one of the most controversial chapters in the story. Several researchers allegedly attempted to reconstruct the patterns. As they compared them to known celestial configurations, they noticed something unsettling. The arrangement did not perfectly match the sky of their own era. Nor did it match any obvious astronomical chart from known civilizations. Instead, the pattern seemed to describe a specific celestial alignment, a rare one, an event occurring only under extraordinary circumstances. The implications were astonishing. If the interpretation was correct, the creators of the map had recorded knowledge extending far beyond simple stargazing. They had identified a future celestial occurrence, perhaps centuries in advance, perhaps longer. But how? The obvious explanation was coincidence. Ancient symbols can be interpreted in countless ways. Ports emerge where none exist. Researchers are human, humans see meaning, yet the more certain investigators studied the alleged reconstruction, the more difficult it became to dismiss entirely, because hidden within the design were numerical relationships, radios, intervals, cycles, repeated sequences that appeared intentional, almost mathematical, and mathematics changes everything. Random carvings can resemble patterns. Mathematical precision is harder to explain away, especially when it concerns the movements of celestial objects. Ancient astronomers understood something modern people often forget. The sky is predictable, stars move. Planets wander, comets return, eclipses follow cycles. Given enough observation, future events can sometimes be anticipated. The Babylonians knew this, the Maya knew this, the ancient Chinese knew this. Could an unknown American civilization have known it too? And if so, how advanced were they? The question opened a door to an even deeper mystery, because several indigenous traditions across North America contain stories that seem oddly connected, stories of fiery lights in the heavens. Stories of stars behaving strangely, stories of celestial visitors, stories of a great sign appearing in the sky before major transformations. Most historians interpret these narratives symbolically. Mythology often uses celestial imagery, but not everyone agrees. Some researchers believe fragments of real astronomical observations may be hidden inside these traditions. Memories preserved through oral history, echoes of extraordinary events witnessed generations earlier. Then came another discovery. At several ancient sites, researchers identified alignments pointing not toward permanent stars, but toward positions associated with rare celestial phenomena. This was unexpected. Building monuments around the sun is understandable. Tracking seasonal cycles makes practical sense. Designing structures around rare cosmic events is something else entirely. It implies long-term observation, sophisticated prediction, a culture deeply invested in the sky, and perhaps a reason. What if ancient peoples weren't merely observing celestial events? What if they feared them? The possibility transforms the entire mystery because warnings only exist when danger exists. And danger appears repeatedly throughout ancient history. Around the world, civilizations recorded strange occurrences in the heavens. Comets, meteor storms darken skies. Unusual lights, objects moving unpredictably. Most were harmless, some may not have been. Modern science confirms that Earth exists within a cosmic shooting gallery. Asteroids pass nearby regularly. Impacts have altered planetary history. Entire species have vanished because of events originating in space. Ancient observers didn't understand orbital mechanics, but they understood consequences. If something catastrophic happened in the sky, they would remember, and they would tell stories for generations, perhaps centuries, perhaps millennia. The star map mystery becomes especially intriguing when viewed through this lens. What if the creators weren't predicting an event? What if they were preserving knowledge of a cycle, a recurrence, a celestial phenomenon expected to return? Suddenly the map looks less like prophecy and more like preparation. But the real mystery had only begun. Because hidden within some interpretations of the map was a feature researchers couldn't explain, a cluster of symbols positioned far from the main star patterns, separated intentionally, heighted repeatedly, almost emphasized. Some believed it represented a comet, others proposed a meteor stream. A few suggested something even stranger, an object not visible during the map's creation, an object expected to appear later. Much later, the idea sounds impossible. Yet ancient civilizations occasionally tracked phenomena over extraordinary spans of time. Knowledge passed from generation to generation can survive far longer than expected. A prediction does not require supernatural foresight, only patience, observation. And continuity. Still another question remained. Why hide such information inside a cave? Why not display it openly? Why conceal it beneath layers of stone? Why create a chamber that seemed designed to preserve knowledge rather than share it? The answer may lie in the nature of ancient memory itself. Most information disappear, empires collapse, libraries burn, languages vanish. Only the most important knowledge is protected, the information people fear losing. The information they believe future generations will need. Perhaps the map survived because someone considered it essential. Perhaps they wanted it found, just not immediately. As researchers continued examining similar traditions and archaeological clues, a fascinating pattern emerged. Again and again, ancient cultures described periods of upheaval linked to celestial signs, a bright object crossing the sky, a red star appearing unexpectedly, a heavenly serpent, a burning shield. Different cultures, different languages, different symbols, yet surprisingly similar themes. Coincidence? Possibly. But mysteries thrive where coincidences accumulate. Then came the theories. And theories transformed the story from archaeology into something far larger. Some propose the existence of a forgotten astronomical tradition in ancient North America, a network of sky watchers preserving observations across generations. According to this view, the star map represented genuine scientific knowledge developed independently. No lost civilization, no hidden conspiracy, just forgotten expertise. Others disagreed. They argued that the sophistication implied by the map exceeded what mainstream history currently attributes to the region. Perhaps an unknown culture existed. A civilization erased by time, its achievements scattered and forgotten. A civilization whose greatest legacy wasn't architecture, but knowledge encoded in stone, knowledge waiting centuries to be rediscovered. And then there were the more controversial theories involving ancient contact, transoceanic voyages, lost explorers, cultural exchanges never recorded in conventional history. Some pointed to similarities between symbols found in distant parts of the world. Others highlighted astronomical traditions that seemed surprisingly advanced. Most mainstream scholars reject these ideas. Evidence remains limited, yet the questions persist. Because unanswered questions have a way of surviving, especially when they touch something fundamental, our origins, our history, our understanding of ourselves. What if the story we've inherited is incomplete? What if entire chapters are missing? The possibility is difficult to ignore, particularly when archaeology continues producing surprises. Again and again, discoveries overturn assumptions. Cities emerge from jungles. Structures appear beneath deserts. Ancient engineering reveals unexpected sophistication. History changes, not dramatically overnight, but steadily one discovery at a time. And perhaps that is why the legend of the 150 BC star map refuses to disappear. Because it exists in the space between certainty and possibility, a place where mysteries thrive, a place where evidence ends and imagination begins. Yet one final aspect of the story remains especially haunting. According to certain retellings, the map did not merely identify celestial positions, it included a sequence of progression, a timeline of sorts, not written in words, written in motion objects approaching alignment, cycles converging, a cosmic clock counting towards something. Researchers disagree completely on what this means. Some see ordinary astronomical calculations. Others see symbolic storytelling. A few see a warning. And warnings have power even when their meaning remains uncertain. Because the human mind instinctively asks the same question, warning of what? A comet, an eclipse, a meteor storm, a catastrophe, or something else entirely? No definitive answer exists, and perhaps none ever will. The chamber, if it existed exactly as described, has never produced the kind of evidence needed to settle the debate conclusively. Much of the story survives through fragments, reports, accounts, interpretations, mysteries layered upon mysteries, yet that uncertainty may be precisely why the legend endures. A solved mystery dies, an unsolved one evolves. Each generation reinterprets it, each discovery reshapes it, each new piece of evidence breathes fresh life into old questions. And sometimes the most fascinating mysteries are not those we solve, but those that force us to keep looking. Imagine standing inside that ancient chamber, torchlight flickering across stone walls, dust hanging motionless in the darkness, the silence of centuries surrounding you. Then your light catches the carving stars. Symbols, parts, a map frozen in time, creed by hands long vanished, hands belonging to people whose names have been forgotten, people who looked into the night sky and saw something important enough to preserve forever, something worth carving into stone. Something worth hiding. Would you recognize what they were trying to say? Would anyone? Or has the true meaning already been lost? Perhaps the map never predicted anything. Perhaps the entire mystery emerged from misunderstanding. History contains many such stories, but perhaps not. Perhaps somewhere inside those symbols lies a message still waiting to be decoded, a fragment of forgotten knowledge, a record of an event ancient observers considered vital, a warning, a memory. Or a prediction. The truth remains buried beneath layers of time, and that may be the most unsettling possibility of all, because every year archaeologists uncover new sites, new inscriptions, new evidence, pieces of puzzles nobody knew existed. What appears impossible today may become obvious tomorrow. What seems legendary may prove historical. What sounds like myth may conceal memory. And somewhere beneath the deserts, forests, mountains, and forgotten landscapes of ancient America, countless secrets remain hidden, waiting, silent, undisturbed. The stars that inspired the mysteries still move above us tonight, following the same paths they followed 2,000 years ago, crossing the same darkness, keeping the same ancient rhythms. And perhaps somewhere in that vast celestial clockwork lies the answer that the creators of the mysterious star map tried so desperately to preserve. Or perhaps the greatest mystery is not what they knew, but why they believed future generations would need to know it too. Because if the legends are even partially true, then the map was never intended for them. It was intended for us. And the message may still be waiting to be understood, somewhere between the stars and the forgotten shadows of history.